Okay, so before I begin, I need to tell y'all that this story contains spoilers for the 5th edition modules Waterdeep Dragon Heist and Waterdeep Dungeon of the Mad Mage. So if you're a player in either of those, you might want to skip. Also, I'd really like for people to be able to comment on my videos or save them to playlists and shit. So if you're 13 or under, this ain't for you. This was my first time being the DM other than a few one shots, so I was super janky in places, but I think I've got my groove now. Let me tell you guys that I fucking love my current high-ish level D&D party. We've got a human rogue, a drow wizard, a tiefling fighter, a tabaxi bard, and a drow fighter. Gee, boy critter, why does your mom let you have two fighters? I ran this group through Waterdeep Dragon Heist at first before going to Dungeon of the Mad Mage. We had all sorts of crazy adventures, like the rogue finding out that a drow swashbuckler was boning her arranged fiance's mom, the tiefling fighter and the rogue eating demonic pumpkins and going through a bunch of body horror, the bard sitting on a bone throne that she knew was a trap and almost dying, the bard being kidnapped by an evil wizard and replaced with a simulacrum since the player had to miss a couple sessions and the party had to rescue her, the drow fighter starting off the campaign missing an arm and having that same evil wizard's lost arm grafted onto his body, and the time everyone went insane, so the tiefling fighter barbecued some of the minotaurs the party killed, and everyone just ate sentient beings. You know, that's fine, right? But none of them, are quite as batshit as the time my party made a beholder. Allow me to explain. Okay, so over the course of the campaign, my party befriended a bugbear who was working for the Xanathar Guild. That's a thieves guild in Waterdeep, also in like the underdark town of Skullport. They're bad news. Anyway, this was about 5 or 6 months real time, so it's not like this came out of the blue. The rogue had him established as one of her criminal contacts and everything. The party helped him and his mom get their small business in Skullport going. It was nice. Anyway, one day when my rogue decided to check on her contact, the bugbear actually had a favor to ask of the party. He needed a goldfish and fast. And not just any goldfish, he was extremely specific about the kinds of markings it needed to have. Unusually specific. It ended up being a cute little side quest where my party went back up to Waterdeep for a bit and checked all the shops. It was a nice breather. And then one time, on an unrelated side quest, they infiltrated this info broker's apartment, found out he was actually a Rakshasa, long story, and then found out that one of his investigations involved checking out goldfish purchases at a particular shop, a pet shop in Waterdeep that sold really fancy goldfish. The same shop my party visited. Goldfish purchases spanning over several years. My party was starting to get suspicious. They knew of the Xanathar Guild and that the organization had a lot of influence in Skullport. The PCs also had a house in Skullport. It was cute, it was shaped like a spider and everything, so this was of some interest. So they decided to investigate. Now, the Xanathar Guild is led by a beholder called the Xanathar. For those of you who don't know D&D and don't know what a beholder is, imagine a floating, evil, psychic Mike Wazowski, except he has 10 more eyes, and all of those eyes shoot eye beams that are just all different ways to murder you, or turn you into stone, or make you want to spooch the beholder, but you're never going to get to because beholders hate everyone. That's what we're dealing with here. The only thing the Xanathar cares about other than themselves is their pet goldfish, which they named Silgar. But because goldfish don't live too long, their lackeys keep replacing the dead goldfish with identical fish whenever one dies. So far, the Xanathar hasn't caught on to this. Anyway, the wizard decided to scry on the goldfish to see where the hell it ended up. They had the entire party watching as they held up the mirror, and Silgar, being a damn goldfish, failed his wisdom save to avoid being scried on. Then the entire party saw Silgar in a large, luxurious fishbowl with a beholder on the other side of the glass. Out of character, everyone knew that the Xanathar was a beholder, I mean, Wizards of the Coast ain't really hiding that info. But I have some great role players. In character, this was the first time anyone had figured it out, so all the PCs were freaking the fuck out right now. Most of my players are veterans to D&D except for the Bard. The Tiefling Fighters player had only mostly played 3.5 before my campaign, which was her first 5e, but I don't think too much about Beholders has changed between editions. I mean, let's look at a Beholder's stat block for a second. Yeah, you see this challenge rating? That's a lie. That's a damn lie. Look at all those rays. Look at what they can do. This is one giant middle finger to your players, and none of mine were too keen on taking the Xanathar on. They had to find a way to weaken the Beholder and their lair before the party stormed it, and that's when my wizard had another idea. Now, one spell that wizards can learn in D&D is called Dream. It's just a spell that lets you control the target's dreams and deliver messages, omens, that kind of thing. You get to have a lot of creativity with this, but it's rarely used by player characters in campaigns from what I've seen. I say rarely and not never. Dream requires its target to make a wisdom save, so I rolled one for the Xanathar. Natural 1. The wizard's player described what the Xanathar would dream about. They would be floating in water, with millions of goldfish swimming around.
Which one is the real Silgar?
A voice would call, and then the Xanathar would turn and see themselves floating across from them.
Your subordinates are lying to you,
said the Xanathar look-alike.
They've kidnapped the real Silgar and replaced him with an impostor.
Here's what I thought to myself. Oh, Jesus fuck, this is going to be an absolute disaster. Here's what I said to the group. Okay, I think the party chose for the messenger to be another beholder identical to the Xanathar because they knew that beholders hate everything that isn't themselves. That's a pretty sound line of logic, except they didn't know what happens when beholders dream about other beholders. Anyway, let me tell you about how beholders make baby beholders. When a beholder sleeps, their dreams get to all sorts of crazy shit. When they dream about other beholders, there's a good chance that a new beholder will spawn out of thin air. It can be a slightly different duplicate of the original beholder, or it can be affected by the contents of the dream. Since this dream had a lot of goldfish, I figured that the new beholder would have a coloration similar to a fancy goldfish or koi. Now, disclaimer, in the module, the Xanathar actually has a device in their lair that wakes them up if they start to dream about other beholders. I completely forgot about this, but I'm glad I did, as I don't think it would have been as memorable. So, I described the appearance of this new beholder to the party when they decided to check up on what happened by scrying on Silgar again. I guess they figured that the Xanathar would be killing everyone in their lair or something, but no one was prepared for what they saw. They saw the dead body of the former Xanathar and a new Xanathar in its place. Everyone lost their shit. No one was okay. I decided to end the session there.
Is my character this beholder's parent?
Asked the wizard player.
Did we just get Xanathar pregnant?
Asked the rogues player. I gave a little explanation as to how beholders reproduce in the game's Discord chat, saying, well, yes, but also no. This thing isn't even biologically related to you, I said, but you're still going to have to take responsibility. And so, in our next session, the gang set off to kill the son that they brought forth into this world. The end. I'm not gonna tell you guys to like or subscribe. You guys are adults, you can figure it out.